Hello everyone, welcome to Concilium Watch. My name is Jonathan.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Austin.
And today we're bringing you our very first video. This is on Infinity the Game's 012 Starmada Sectorial, one of the new sectorials coming out for N4 this September.
Super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Honestly, like, this is the first sectorial for 012, so it's kind of a big deal.
Yep, and you can actually get the action pack that holds, if I recall correctly, a 250-point army. Go ahead and buy right now the Code 1 012 faction, and that should supplement this very nicely.
Oh, for sure. So,
And look at them. Look at them.
Yeah, usually look at the whole box. It's pretty great.
They're very gorgeous minis with Celadine standing in front of the blue and gold Hackaslam players. I'm sorry. You're going to have to spend money to get that beautiful medal.
Yeah.
Because I know I am.
Yeah, you got a bronze, a blue coat, 2 crushers, and 3 kappas.
And
the lawmaker.
Yeah, don't forget him.
On his bike.
He is the law.
Look, I already know he looks like Judge Jet.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to the first unit. We've got the kappas. What do you guys think about these?
The kappas look great. So you got a sniper rifle, I'm guessing a multi-sniper rifle, a heavy machine gun, and an SMG when she's a hacker. I think they look great. And the one with the beard, I love the one with the beard. I want it so bad.
It's great.
To be biased as I am, I love the hacker because I also play Nomad, so I obligatorily have to say I love the hacker.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a really strong pose too, honestly.
It is.
And the sniper will be really useful in the link for this faction. It's going to be like the main defensive core, I think.
Yeah, I think anything with a multi-sniper is going to fill that role very well.
It's the basic unit. It's also that multi-sniper is going to be really cheap.
For sure.
So that's a really cheap core with a really good weapon.
Yeah, I'm surprised at one thing, but that's something to bring up when we get to it.
Sure, yeah. The one thing I will say is I do wish that maybe instead of the sniper we could have gotten the missile launcher, but that'll just be something that we might get in a blister later.
I mean, there are space cops. They don't really need all of that extra heavy weaponry now, do they?
I think it's useful.
It's probably.
And here are all of our loadouts with shock immunity. Okay. So SMGs are not even going to hurt these guys. The terrible SMGs with all their shock. Like, nah, we're kappas. We're good. We don't need this on light infantry.
They'll still knock them out.
Yeah, but it is useful because having shock immunity is going to make sure that these guys, if they go down, using your multi-sniper rifle, right? Like he's the one who's arrowing the whole board. And
what are you talking about? You got a missile launcher. You got him right? Oh, you wanted the rocket launcher.
Well, I just want the model, is what I'm saying.
I'm just being biased.
Yeah. But the shock immunity is definitely going to keep them in the game, hopefully, so that you can get a doctor over there to them.
Okay, so yeah, you get your regular combi rifle for 12 points. That's pretty
solid.
Very fair. HMG for 20 points and only 1 SWC. That's really good.
This is pretty bog standard comparing to a couple of other different line troops that are in the game. If I recall correctly, what is it? The Alguaciles are actually very close to this in terms of point costs.
Yeah.
But where the Alguaciles, I think, if I recall correctly, suffer in ballistic skill. Kappa have a BS-12, which is really good for a line infantry, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah. They're basically, like, they're Fusiliers, but they're paying 2 more points on basically everything for that shock immunity.
Which is worth it.
Although, I guess the hacker is the big standout here, because
I am so happy with
12 points? My goodness.
And half a SWC for the hacker, and wasn't it you, Nathan, that said that assault hacking is going into normal hacking devices now?
Well, we don't really know, but in that battle report that Corvus Belli posted on their YouTube page, the hacker was slinging all sorts of crazy hacking programs that were normally only on the assault hacking device in the past.
And I mean, we knew that hacking devices were going to be getting a little bit of a look at and a little bit of a buff going from N3 into N4. I'm pretty stoked about this, because if it means that we can, from different perspectives, if it means we can have certain wider nets with not needing to bring specifics, I think it's going to open up a lot more in the game. The Kappa here being so cheap, being actually really decent willpower, is just, it's going to be something that people are going to have to look out for. But it's also going to depend on what repeater network that O12 can bring to bear, which they have.
I mean, look at the forward observer just underneath the hacking device there. It's got a combi rifle, a flash,
it has a deployable repeater,
and has a deployable repeater, and is 14 points. And so you starting out with your defensive core with that multi-sniper rifle now have a deployable repeater that you could throw out there.
Deployable repeaters are like mine, so they'll go right next to him. But still, if you need to move up the Kappa link team, that's good.
And we'll see later when we start talking about synergies with other units. But there is, I believe, a Cyber Ghost that you can take in the Starmada faction, which would give you access to the white noise. So that repeater is even more valuable.
Bro!
They have Hacking Device Plus?
The Cyber Ghost does, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be nuts. I'm titillated and tantalized.
All right, on that note, we'll move on to the next unit, the Crusher.
Yes!
I really like the Crushers. I love the pose. I love how this was painted up. They are by far one of my favorite units in this box. They're beautiful.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely.
And honestly, it's really interesting, the design philosophy of this unit, because they're two different units almost in the same profile. Because there's one that has forward deployment plus 8 inches, and then the other one is an AD trooper who can drop onto the table.
I wish he had something more than a boarding shotgun, but I still love him.
Well, he actually does. That thing that's undermounted underneath is a Panzerfaust, which can be absolutely deadly if you get behind someone.
Yeah, that's just dirty. But look at that pose. That pose is just so dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Coming down.
They've really gotten better with a lot of their dynamic poses as of late, I've noticed.
Definitely.
Like, this is like as dynamic as like the Soldiers of Fortune with Senior Massacre just hurtling over that wall.
Yeah, I do love that model. It's beautiful. And a lot of the Wildcats also have these, all the jump troopers actually have these amazing drop-in poses that are
especially nowadays. Yeah, it's really great.
Tiger soldiers, I love you.
All right. So looking at the profile here, this is solid. Like, this is so good. Especially if you, like you were mentioning Tiger soldiers. When you compare the Tiger soldier to this, it's right on par. Because you've got Mimetism, -3. You've got BS 13, which is insane. These guys even have no wound incapacitation, though, which makes them even crazier.
Yeah, and they're already forward observers. You have a specialist just on hand.
That's something that I missed in my very first read-through of this, but upon further investigation, these guys are no joke.
Oh, yeah.
This is coming from someone who's played almost every single faction in the game outside of Pano, because Pano was a mistake.
Oh,
but you were trading a lot of the hitting power from, again, the Tiger Soldier, because the Tiger Soldier and the Crusher do have a lot of parallels with each other.
Sure.
You're losing out on a Spitfire and some of the chunkier weapons, but you got an FO, you get a boarding shotgun with Panzerfaust and deep charges on an FO.
Yep.
That one model can accomplish so many different classifies and missions. It's insane.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially because it's also an elite troop as well. So you can drop this thing in and immediately do, I think it's
not nano espionage.
It's
it is
like mapping, I think, maybe.
I think mapping is one. There is another, and I know which one it is, where an elite or whatever has to make a whip roll on the other
Yeah.
side of the field, but I cannot place it off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, we
There's a
played
couple
me
classifieds, yeah.
that are
There's
really good with it. And EMCCW, and so your Crusher for deployment, the third one down, submachine gun, light rocket launcher,
Oh, yeah.
nanopulver, and D-chargers. Pistol, EMCCW for 1 SWC and 35 points. You get all of that. That's cheap for
Yeah.
all the things that you are getting. That is really affordable. That's really good. And all the things that you can do with it.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
EMCCWs don't get enough credit.
Well, and especially like CC-17 is, not amazing, but it is, it could catch someone off guard.
It will
No,
hold off certain pieces.
that would take out a Cataran. If a Cataran is up in a spot, you could drop down and just kill that Cataran with an EMCCW and CC-17.
Maybe.
I think the big thing is that you also have to realize, well, you have to keep this in mind. Warbands, even though they're going to be taking a backseat in N4, are still going to be a potent piece on the table.
Definitely.
CC-17 against, say, what are they? The Cataran, not the Cataran, the Caledonian warbands.
Mm-hmm.
Galwegians?
Yeah, Galwegians. If you berserk against a Crusher, the Crusher's probably going to isolate that poor Galwegian, and the Crusher's probably going to live because of NWI.
It will, yeah. Because I believe the Galwegians only have AP, correct?
Yeah, they only have an AP CCW.
Yeah, that's a big deal. The half wound that no wound incapacitation gives you is a really big deal.
I think their only nemesis is going to be Morlocks, because Morlocks will also bring an EMCCW, and that will just be funny.
Yeah, I think like Austin was saying, the light rocket launcher is a really standout addition here because it gives you a deadly weapon that you can use up to 24 inches. So,
and with the extra 8 inches on deployment, it means you can already be in good range.
Exactly.
It's really good. It really is.
Yeah, and honestly, this might be a good candidate. Like the Crusher with submachine gun might be a good candidate for the new command token use because you can put them in suppressive fire. They can shoot on 3 dice using a submachine gun, which has shock or AP as far as we know, in suppressive fire. And if you think that you're outside of the 24 inches from suppressive fire, you can always break and have a better chance with that light rocket launcher.
Indeed.
No, I want to go back. I want to go down. If you'll go back right quick. So the Crusher, it's got the last one. It's got the combat jump and parachutist. Now that used to be 2 different things.
True. Yeah. It used to be a nested skill.
Indeed.
Yeah, it used to be a nested skill. So what does it mean now? Is combat jump? It's not just air deployment. It's combat jump, and he just has parachutist where he's going to come in on the side of the table.
Yeah, basically the way that N4 rules work now, in order to be able to, rather than having nested skills like in the past, you could choose to do combat jump or the quote-unquote lesser skill, parachutist. Nowadays, in order to be able to choose between those two, you basically have to list both of them on the profile itself.
It's also
okay because that also takes out, because now you have combat jump and parachutist, which takes out the less in between those is the airborne infiltration.
Yeah, we'll have to see if those still stick around in some form or another. But for any viewers watching, the difference between these two is that combat jump allows you to land anywhere on the table as long as you can pass a Phys -3 check. Or actually, it's just a regular Phys check. It's not inferior combat jump.
Yeah, it's just a regular Phys check.
Just a regular Phys check. And you can buff that with hackers as well to give them a +3. Alternatively, the parachutist skill allows any of these guys to walk in on the side of the board as long as it's not in your opponent's deployment zone.
I think the interesting thing will be the fact that since it's no longer nested, you can just have a combat jump unit or a parachutist unit, which the parachutist was already a thing. It's more so that you can now just have combat jump units.
Yes,
might lower points costs on some things, but yeah. I just find it intriguing because by unnesting things, you do create a lot more option ability.
Yeah, and honestly, like, even though I have access to a lot of like combat jump troopers in my Pano, I most often use the parachutist just because it's a guarantee that I don't have to roll for. If they had a unit where all they have is combat jump, that then takes that choice away, and you're forced to roll for it, and that's a really interesting like rules interaction.
But also with combat jump, you can jump into anywhere you want to on the board. With parachutist, if you have more than one AD trooper, if it's all with parachutist, they all have to come in from the same side of the board.
Mm.
I'm honestly foreseeing Yan-Yans to only have combat jump because, let's be honest,
I hope.
That would be funny.
The dispersion rules!
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right, next guy is the blue coat.
I love this model.
It's so amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the two, like the dual wielding pose is pretty sweet.
It is. I almost wish it was a different pose just because of his little naval hat, and I think it would be hilarious if he was saluting.
Hey, you never know. We might get some more models later. There's certainly some profiles that need to be filled out, that's for sure.
Indeed. But God, I love this model.
I'm telling you, they got it from Hellboy. That's the only way that they got, like, I'm going to make it look like this. They got that inspiration from the first Hellboy movie.
Definitely.
We know that Corvus Belli likes to take liberties with certain creative information and looks for certain models and inspiration.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is clearly one of them.
Who doesn't love a good pop culture reference?
Who doesn't love, Senor Massacre?
Yeah. All right, so these guys are actually kind of sweet. They've got a CC-20, which is pretty impressive for a line troop sort of guy. BS-12 is great, like we mentioned earlier. Phys-10 is pretty low, so you don't really want to be dodging mines with this guy. But Whip-13 is great. I mean, it's pretty standard for most armies, but it's totally solid.
I think one of the biggest pieces of equipment that kind of shows you what's going on in the fluff, especially, is the biometric visor. And that makes a lot of sense considering the fact that O12 is kind of billed as we are the faction to stand as the front line for humanity against the combined menace. And that's mostly Shazvasti, let's be honest.
Nowadays, that's for sure.
Exactly, and Shazvasti's pretty famous for speculo killers. One of the best impersonators in the game. Fides, I'm sorry, but you don't drop mines for an extra 0.5 SWC.
Yeah. But honestly, like, some of these other skills are awesome too. And I'm particularly excited about Discover +3.
I like it. I'm excited about Natural Born Warrior personally. It kind of shows you exactly what these guys are meant to do, especially if you start looking at their profile. Subguns, heavy riot stopper. Boarding shotgun, heavy riot stopper. ADHL, heavy riot stopper. I think there's a theme here where they stop things from happening.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. They're the anti-fun police.
Especially when you, again, think about the whole combined army thing. Speculo killers being such, let's be honest, a pain.
Sure.
So biometric visor +3 discover, you're going to figure out what that impersonation marker that's creeping up on your lines a lot easier. And then it's just a matter of, okay, well, hello, Speculo killer. This is a big, giant vat of glue. Please step into it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And especially, like, the biometric visor has always been really handy for taking out those, or discovering those impersonation markers, but it doesn't really do much against other kind of camo markers, right? So that's why the Discover is really great, because it gives this guy a faceted job. He can't. It's not like a multi-spectral visor where you can like ignore their like mimetism to be able to shoot them, but he can definitely point them out to everyone else.
So it is accurate to say that he is the fun police.
He is, absolutely.
And also, like, going down here, so you got the courage, CC attack, +1 damage. Natural Born Warrior, so it's going to be able to stop all of these really big CC killers, be like, no, you're not going to use that anymore. Just go to +3. And 6th Sense, there's no more levels. It's all 6th Sense level 2.
That's a huge deal.
What I'm actually intrigued by is the paralysis close combat weapon. The -6 kind of leads me to believe that it's going to be -6 on the attack.
It's going to be -6 to your opponent. We've seen
never
this in Code 1, yeah. Basically, what the paralysis CCW does is it gives a -6 to your opponent, and if you get hit, rather than rolling an armor save, you have to roll on your fizz, and you might get immobilized, basically.
So this really stops, like, Caledonia in this way, because we could go in and there, we're going to berserk, and so instead of using your natural born warrior, which 20 and 21, because Galwegians have CC 21, like, I'm going to berserk you. Okay, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm going to take away that -6 that you just got from berserk.
Well, honestly, natural born warrior cancels berserk, doesn't it?
Yes,
it absolutely does. So you can do,
even more. You can cancel their +6 because they can't berserk you and make it a non-face-to-face, but you can also dish out a -6 to them as well.
So this is the perfect CC killer, which would also make it a wonderful data tracker.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to... It's not going to kill many CC units, especially because I think the CC attack +1 damage is really funny because this guy's only Fizz 10, so that makes it a damage 11. But I think that this guy's definitely good at, if he gets CC attacked, he can shut them down.
This guy definitely reminds me of the Odalisks. They are defenders, they protect your link teams, they protect your lines.
Definitely. Especially with that, I'm excited about this adhesive launcher, the double adhesive launcher for only 13 points.
This is so cool. I love
Honestly,
that.
like, I'm so excited about that profile that I'm thinking about taking this dual wielding pose and then putting 2 adhesive launchers in his hands.
You should definitely do that. 100%.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. This is my glue guns. Enjoy.
But honestly, like, in terms of like a cheap attack unit, so we'll talk again about how these guys can join links, but the Red Fury and Light Riot Stopper for 25 points and 1 SWC is pretty solid in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. He's a very attractive option. Do I believe that there might be some better? Of course, but for the points, he does the job.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And he's a 16-point lieutenant option at no SWC cost to you.
Yeah,
but we'll get to the best lieutenant in 012 in the entire game here in a minute. So calm you britches.
Yeah.
All right. So the next unit we got here is the Bronze. This guy's an absolute brick.
Look at him. His power rock. His power rock.
He does have tactical steppy stones. That's true.
Course.
You always have to have tactical steppy stones.
He's got the super cool harpoon gauntlet thing. It's pretty
He is the law. It's the fist. You gotta say it with the fist.
The rage fist. I love the coat too. It's pretty sweet.
If you
Everything is really pretty.
I'm actually excited to see what they do with the non-coded option from the concept art.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very interesting.
I do wonder if we'll get a secondary sculpt or something like that sometime down the line.
We'll probably get a box with 3 miniatures and a tin bot that they miraculously put in there for some reason.
Yeah, these guys are pretty sweet. And moving on to the profile, another veteran troop here, so pretty good. And a 360 visor.
360 visor? God almighty.
I really do like these guys. Just the fact that they have a Red Fury with +1 damage.
Mm-hmm. Basically a shock Spitfire.
It's wonderful. They're BS-13, so they hit more often than not. They're Fizz-13, so if they really need to, they can dodge. Whip 13 for the specialist option is really good, especially with Climbing Plus. These guys are data trackers in the making.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Total immunity as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, total immunity. I gotta tell you, I was a little salty when I kept seeing the total immunity, because that used to be like a pure Ariadna dog face thing, except for a couple of other ones, like Sun Tzu from
the Karakuri as well.
And the Uberfall Commando.
and the Uberfall Commando, stuff like that. But it was very few and far between. But it was a staple in every single Ariadna sectorial because they all had some form of dog warrior. Mm-hmm. And now that it seems like there's more things that are getting total immunity. And I'm not taking away from the bronze. I'm just saying they're more. The skills are more sherry on what used to be a staple for some factions.
I don't personally find it a bad thing, especially with the apparent changes to total immunity. It's not as powerful as it used to be. It unfortunately does make BTS a little more of a non-stat, but he's an HI, so it's really good against being hacked. And his Whip 13 makes him decent against resetting against certain hacking skills and jammers, which are thankfully disposable. Sure. But I don't know. I like total immunity. I like the change. I think it's going to be less punishing, which is very good. But man, it feels bad to roll a 9 against damage 13 when you're not in cover.
What could have been?
What could have been?
What could have been? That poor little line Kazakh took out the bronze.
I will say that honestly, like the whole sharing of skills nowadays, it is interesting because it's making units a little more homogenous between factions, but it does kind of make sense if you think about it in like, this is a real world, it's a fake world, but it's a real world to them. And with N4, we're getting a 5-year time skip. So sharing of technologies and like factions gaining more power and certain skills and things like that makes sense to me.
I think one of the interesting concepts when it comes to total immunity is if you look at all the total immunity profiles, except for one, which is the Karakuri, they're all a super soldier type model. They're a super soldier program. You got the Uberfell Commandos, you got the Namur, you got the Dog Faces. This is an HI with total immunity. So did O12 find a way to turn total immunity into a more technological thing? Or is it just a super soldier inside of a massive brick of armor?
Could be. Honestly, like that's something definitely to look out for once we start getting our hands on the N4 book to read some of that fluff. It will be really cool.
I'm going to enjoy reading that.
Total immunity, with it being a hackable HI, this is just from my inexperience with hacking because I'm the Ariadna player, is because I've seen like breaker ammo on some of these hacking devices. Does that total immunity stop the breaker ammo on hacking stuff for HIs as well?
If I recall correctly, total immunity is only against BS attacks or anything. It's anything that would make you roll an armor, a BTS check. It's really weird.
Yeah. I'm not sure. And actually, we'll have to maybe if you know in the comments, let us know. But honestly, like looking at some of these other units, like these other profiles, the paramedic with a heavy shotgun and acrolot cannon, that's pretty sweet. And these guys are like tailor-made for those objective room missions. Like this is the guy that can stand in the middle of the room, see every door from all angles, and shoot anything that comes in.
This thing was tailor-made for the armory.
Or you just sit him in the middle of a room with that Red Fury and put him in suppression fire and laugh for about 2 hours.
Honestly, yeah, this guy is going to be incredibly hard to shift once you get him in suppressive fire because he's got the courage as well. So he's not making any guts checks.
He's not going to be terrified by any kind of blast or any fire damage because of the total immunity.
Yep.
If somebody gets in too close, he does have martial arts level 1 with an EMCCW.
Mm-hmm.
And paralysis CCW too.
And climbing plus to be able to move around. This is a standout profile for Starmada.
Definitely.
I think the bronze is really the epitome of the saying, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, he's a pretty penny, but he is solid for sure.
Indeed.
All right, so moving on to our favorite biker unit, at least my favorite.
Let's just say
the bike.
We know Corvus Belli can't say who it is, but we can say who it is. It's Judge Dredd.
Yeah, he's got the little the pauldron on the side. He's got the badge of honor on the front.
I like his bat, honestly. I really do.
Oh yeah, the big bat.
That's
That's
the baton.
Yeah, he's a little bubby out in the UK.
And that's a new sculpt for a relatively new weapon, the multi-pistol. It's pretty sweet.
No,
I forgot he had a multi-pistol.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, so for any viewers watching that aren't familiar, a multi-pistol is going to have both shock ammunition, AP ammunition, or a single double action shot. So, pretty sweet, especially up close.
Gonna be dirty.
Dirty. As is with most bikers.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. The Lawkeeper's Badlands Patrol. This is going to be a little small, so I'm going to read this guy out for you guys. So he is light infantry, has a cube, regular order, and it has a fire emblem on there.
That's impetuous.
Impetuous. And for those of you that don't know, there is no more extremely impetuous. It's all just regular impetuous, which, as the Ariadne player, is amazing. All right, so we have 8 seconds movement on the bike. CC 18, BS 12, Fizz 11, Whip 13, Arm 2, BTS 3, Wound 1, Size 4. You can have 2 of these. With the equipment being the bike, skills is Courage, BS Attack, +1 damage, Mimetism, and Dodge, +2 inches.
So I want to take a second and say, 012, why did you have to go to JSA for the bike technology?
Yeah, they've got the faster bikes than normal.
They've got the fast bike. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he does have 2 specialist profiles, which
really sweet.
I think 012 has especially Starmada, has a lot of options for completing the mission, which makes sense, to be honest. They are the front line again, but it's a little obnoxious.
Yeah, they're great. I'm particularly excited about the side bot as well. It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be another. I believe it's going to be G-Sync, but the new way that they're representing that now is the peripheral, sort of overarching tab. And this guy is going to be just as fast, and it's not a side car; it's a side bot.
And it's hackable. The side bot is hackable.
If the side bot is not just a little bot on a wheel and in a bowl, I will be upset.
Oh, I've got plans. Don't you worry, I've got plans.
He needs to look like Gur from Invader Zim.
Yeah.
No, maybe.
So it's pretty great because this guy has a light riot stopper. So you can easily use this in a way to definitely catch your opponent off guard and put them in a bad situation. Imagine the side bot comes around the corner, you're staring down the barrel of a light riot stopper, which can glue your model down, and all of a sudden the Lawkeeper comes around too, wielding a Red Fury and a chain rifle. And you've got to make a decision.
I was going to say, I'm actually just now noticing that there's a lot of chain rifles on this bike.
Yeah, in almost every profile. And even the boarding shotgun has a template mode now. So,
yeah, that's going to be...
Which makes me think they went and grabbed Desperados from Ariadne and then just grabbed the JSA bikes and they threw them together. Here you go. Here's the Lawkeepers.
They're training.
They literally went to Ariadne, found all the Vicky Bobbies and said, "Do you like to go fast?"
You'd be like, yeah, aliens, it is open season on the aliens. There is no tag limit, and they are directly responsible for killing Dale Earnhardt. Go.
I need to sculpt the cowboy hat now.
That's going to be great.
No, it's not. It's going to be horrible, and I'm going to feel pain for every single second I'm doing it.
And honestly, these guys, if you think about it, so you've got a boarding shotgun, but the +1 damage means that's a BS or damage 15 boarding shotgun. Yep. And it's damage 14 for each of these combi rifles or Red Furies. Now, it doesn't affect the chain rifle because the chain rifle is not a BS attack, but still, that boost, especially now that armor is going to be way more useful with crits, that's a big deal.
I think we're both forgetting something. Multi-pistols are damage, 11 or 12?
I believe they're damage 13, actually. So that's a damage 14.
BS attack, yeah.
So
Yep. Go ahead.
let's take this for a quick spin. If I look at a multi-pistol, yes, you're correct. They're damage 13. That's a damage 14 multi-pistol with either AP shock, DA, or stun. Ow!
Yep. He is the law.
God.
I should have brought this guy in the game today.
You should have brought this guy. He would have been, because they're specialist operatives. You could have like gone out with him really fast, completed your objective card, and done whatever you needed to do from there, and just let him just be a thorn in my side for the rest of the game.
Spoiler alert, no, I couldn't have. I drew really poorly.
Well, what I will say here is one of the things that we haven't mentioned is the change to bikes, at least as far as we can tell so far, waiting for N4 to officially drop. Bikes no longer have a straight negative to dodge, I don't think. So potentially this guy could be dodging on 11s. It's not amazing, but it's better than 8s.
Oh my god, Coom Riders are going to be amazing.
Oh man, everything's gonna be more amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Corvus
I mean,
can
US Ariadne players, you're gonna love if there's nothing on the bikes. You have so many bikes.
Saladin, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Saladin!
We're all going to buy this box just for this model unless you got Defiance. In which case, someone sell me Cassandra Kusanagi. Please, please. Come on.
It is interesting that they, since we already had the sculpt from Defiance, he had like definitely Aleph weaponry, which is what a lot of the O12 models use. This time they've given him a Hawk Islam sword and a Hawk Islam pistol, so he's definitely going back to his roots, and in this new sculpt here.
Yeah, from what they showed during the live stream, they showed all 3 concept arts for Saladin. The very Hakistan one, the Defiance one, which was very Aleph, very... Let's just be honest, very antagonistic.
Yeah.
And then they have this one, which is a mixture of the two, and I think he looks gorgeous. I definitely want him. I'm going to paint him as green as humanly possible, and it's going to be beautiful.
He looks like a pirate king as per Starmada, because with Starmada as a whole, I really get that British Royal Navy type feel from all of them, and he's just the pirate lord that they've shanghaied in there.
Well, he is the naval liaison officer, so...
It's true.
Which means he's a privateer. He's not a private. He's a private.
No, he is, as I said before, the best lieutenant in the game. He's not as good anymore because Strategos level 3 was pretty bonkers, but he's still really good. +1 command token, Strategos level 1, shock immunity, no wound incapacitation, a +1 burst nanopulsar because you gotta protect yourself. And he's just overall a pretty defensive, very good lieutenant. Of course, meant to stay in the back for the most part with his whip 16 in the Strategos. But he's going to be hard to take down. He can support the army too with the repeater if you are bringing the Kappa hacker.
True.
I love Saladin.
Yeah.
I love him so much. He's actually cheaper too, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, he isn't paying for the Strategos level 3. And I do want to mention for all you hack players out there, don't worry, this is a separate profile for O12. You're not losing your Strategos level 3.
It doesn't mean we can't get the model anyway and use it.
Of course, yeah.
I
Whip 16 is
Yeah.
solid.
Like, he is the second best willpower in the game for a lieutenant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty great.
With my boy Wallace.
Wallace only has 15.
Wallace, so making him second best or third
Third best.
best. Who's got better? Who is better?
Avatar at 17.
Oh yeah,
The
nobody.
Avatar cheats.
I don't count the Avatar. He's not a person. He's a beast.
We're not here to talk about the combined army and the EI aspects, okay?
Yeah, that's for another video.
Which I will be very happy about. And of course, we say combined army, and there's Sargosh next to Casanova, who is the actual highlight of this. Even though, let's be honest, Sargosh is going to look at the little man and be like, huh, puny god.
Yeah, Casanova is a pretty cool midfield unit for O12 and Starmada, of course.
And he has the smarmiest looking face in the world.
Oh yeah, he does. He's got a pretty sweet, looks like a rapier, with the nice pommel.
As someone who fenced, I really do like his saber.
It's pretty cool.
No, it's really cool. He looks so dapper.
That's for sure. I do wish that we got a more dynamic pose, but I do appreciate the suave pose that he's got here.
Hey, he's got to woo the Mine Corpse Miner.
It's true. And right here we've got the profile itself, and we can sort of see how he is going to get up close and personal and cause some real damage. Got martial arts level 3, CC attack -3, which is basically the new Icol. Then he's got dodge +3, not +3 inches, so he's dodging on a 14.
That gets rid of the hyper dynamics.
Yep.
Forward deployment +8, so he's starting in the midfield. He's a specialist, which is great. And there's the mimetism -6, basically ODD from last edition.
Yep.
Pretty sweet. He's got no wounding cap and shock immunity, so effectively about 2 wounds.
It's the 2 skills that need to be on every single profile together. If you have NWI, you must have immunity shock, and that is the way the world must work.
Yes, please.
Yes, and courage and stealth.
Yes.
He's definitely another good data tracker option for a more aggressive type of mission.
If you want to get something done quick, yeah, he might be a good assassin for the designated target.
Yeah.
Getting up close with BS-13 is solid. Honestly, like, if this guy comes up, like, this is the kind of guy that has no fear into, like, running into base-to-base with you. Because if he gets into CC, he's giving you a -3 for your CC attack. He's giving you a -3 for martial arts level 3. And he's got mimetism -6. So if he gets into base-to-base, he's giving you basically a -12 if you try to shoot him.
And with a monofilament CC, it does not matter how much armor that you think you have.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you just berserk him into the ground.
Well,
Just saying.
Well, I mean, he still has the no wounding cap at that point, then.
I'm just thinking about a certain model that is really scary that a certain someone played against me earlier.
Okay. So 33 points is it's a little bit, it's right around the threshold that you might think about taking something else. But I will say that, like, him having specialist operative is a really big deal, because if you compare him to someone like Hippolyta, that's another, like, CC focused ODD troop, or mimetism -6 troop, and available in O12. And
Hey, learning curve.
basically, Hippolyta has Eclipse grenades going for her, but Casanova has the forward deployment, which lets him basically start up closer. So
I honestly think Casanova's biggest competition in Starmada and O12 is going to be the Crusher, because you can bring a cheaper Crusher. They have similar weaponry. Sure, mimetism -6 versus mimetism -3. They're the same BS. Not as good in CC for the Crusher, much better in CC for Casanova, but they both kind of fill that same slot.
Yeah, I honestly think that they can play off really well together. I could foresee myself taking a couple of Crushers and Casanova just to sort of, like, really saturate that midfield and have sort of a tool for every trade.
Yeah, with so much forward deployment in there, it seems like Starmada, it really is taking the place of what used to be Murph. So Merovingia used to be able to just, like, they throw all their things into the midfield with all of their different loadouts for infiltration and whatnot, and have everything everywhere. I think Starmada is really going to take that spot to just being very mobile and up the field.
I can agree with that.
It'll be, it's definitely interesting. I know some of the veteran players will probably say that Starmada has a big weakness in the terms of not having any midfield camo units. But the thing is that you've got some really durable midfield pieces. These are not guys that are going to go down to one hit. You're going to have to take a couple of wounds before they get removed, and they've got some pretty good visual mods to try to keep them alive.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
No, I think Casanova's a fantastic model.
He's going to be interesting. Oh, Parvati.
Yeah, Parvati is great. She's actually another one of the Aristea characters that's joining Infinity. I guess living life in the life of a celebrity.
Let's be honest.
Is a little too much.
Aleph Mama literally went to Parvati and said, like, hey, honey, look, the Combine are coming. They're real. Could you go help the Navy for a minute, please? Thanks. I love you.
Yeah. Honestly, Parvati might be one of the oldest characters in Infinity, to be honest. Because Parvati was around in the very early days of Aristea, where basically before they started accepting human applicants, it used to just be robots. And so Parvati was one of the best robots that was fighting in the Aristea Hexadome. And so honestly, that might make her one of the older Infinity units in the game in terms of like physical age.
That's actually really cool. She has always been a model and a look to her that has always captivated me. When I saw Aristea, I saw Parvati, and I was just like, that is such a cool looking model.
Yeah,
why can I not play with this in Infinity? What do I need to do? What goats do I need to sacrifice to get this into Infinity? And it turns out all I need to do is win an ITS tournament. Rats. That's not happening.
Yeah, she's going to be one of the ITS tournament prizes coming up for the next ITS season. There will be one ITS pack in between, ITS Stakeout, but this will be basically the big N4 season to kick it all off. This is going to be the model you're going to try to win. A little bit of insight into her, at least in Aristea, she really focuses on healing and state removal. And also she wields a couple of SMGs. I don't know, it looks like she's only wielding one here, but I think we can definitely expect a doctor with an SMG at least.
Yeah, I didn't notice this at first, but she does have the med kit just right there, doesn't she?
Yep. She's
so she's
definitely
that's a specialist. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a doctor. There you go.
She's probably going to be quick too. I'm expecting probably 6'4" movement, if not 6'2".
If not some kind of forward deployment as well.
Yeah.
Or drop, but maybe not drop. I just look at the little wings she has and think it could be possible. I mean, she's basically could be a Tomcat like parallel.
True, like a drop specialist that can heal units. Could be cool.
I'm really interested to see what she ends up being because if I recall in one of the future screens we'll be looking at, she is actually a wild card.
Yes. So that could be handy if she's a doctor, being able to bring depending on how good she is in terms of points, could be really useful to get that doctor in any of your big links that you want. Speaking of other units and links, we can move on to our next section. This is the whole sectorial chart. So most of the things we've been talking about right now are the new images and the new items in the Starmada action pack, but there are more units to this sectorial than the ones that we've shown so far. So we have all of these here.
So you got the Kappa units, 5 and Conform A core.
One of the more interesting things that I saw when this first came up in I believe the live stream. No, it was the Starmada video during Infinity Week. Was the introduction of a lot of different profiles from different factions. Like, I was surprised to see the Tiango. I was a little surprised to see the Knights of Santiago as well. I was definitely surprised to see Hector and Andromeda. That came out of left field for me. But upon retrospect, it kind of makes some sense. At least for the Tiango, that's orbital activity. That is Navy. So, of course, O12 is going to be like, hey, Yucheng, I know that you're really mad at Pano all of the time. We need to have a talk about that, but calm down. Can we borrow your Tiangao? And if you don't let us borrow your Tiangao, we're going to revoke your UN status. Oh, we can have one? Thanks.
And also the Knights of Santiago. They are the ones who are in charge of guarding the circulars, basically like the space stations and stuff in Pano. And we have known that they've been, in the past, hired to help guard some of the major like jump gate sort of places that O12 is in charge of protecting.
As someone who doesn't play Pano, I did not know this. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. I love the Knights of Santiago. Always have.
I'm really excited to see some of these eventual sculpts. Granted, Hector and Andromeda don't really need one. Hector's really interesting to me. I looked at his profile, and I'm going to actually bring it up really quick to myself to remind me all the things he does.
Yeah.
But he's an interesting inclusion. He's really expensive, but he does so much. The X-Visor, the martial arts, the fact that he's going to be a wild card in this, and the weaponry that he has.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see how he plays in Starmada, especially because it is a sectorial with some really expensive stuff already. Like Crushers, like they're not super expensive, but they're up there. Beta Troopers, the same thing. Bronzes are very expensive, but they get the job done. But could you imagine a bronze, a blue coat, and Hector running up the field, having a ball?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
That could be really.
That's terrifying. I don't ever want to imagine that, and I never want to see it. That's terrifying.
I will make a note to bring that next time.
Yeah, Hector's pretty great. Especially with the new change to plasma weapons. That plasma rifle he has is going to be wild.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a circular template. Yeah.
Which I'm kind of glad they went with that as the word I'm looking for is solution to the impact template for them.
Definitely.
Do I wish it was the same for boarding shotguns? Sure, but I'm greedy.
I don't know. I think this one's better.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's why I wish that boarding shotguns shot the same as the impact templates for rifles.
That would be crazy.
That would be amazing, and I would love it, and I would hold it, and I would cherish it, and I'd kiss it goodnight every day.
Oh my goodness. One standout unit here is actually the Varangian Guard. These guys are normally like an absolute staple in vanilla O12. You only can take 2, which is a little less than the 4 you can take in vanilla. But these guys are great. They're all around some really great war bands. They run up, they throw smoke, and they can hit things pretty hard if you really need to remove something.
You're welcome, Starmada. From Ariadna to you.
Another interesting thing that I noticed, during some of the teases, we were told that a lot of the Greek alphabet sort of units in O12 were going to be linkable. That doesn't seem to be the case entirely, as the Epsilon is a one of, and it doesn't seem like a current stance can be linked, which is kind of a big deal because it's an MSV sniper trooper. It might be that maybe, and hopefully, Corvus Belli, you're moving away from the wildcard linkable MSV2 snipers? Maybe? Please? I'm really upset about the Kamau, but it honestly does really surprise me that the Epsilon can't link and he's only a one of. Does this mean that perhaps we'll see another sectorial for O12 where we will see that linkable Epsilon? Not all of the actual Greek alphabet troops are even in Starmada in the first place. It's really intriguing to me that they didn't do this, and I really want to see what they're going to do with these types of units in the future.
Yeah, I think it's probably better for the game in general that these guys weren't allowed to join links, just because it's not just
man.
It's not just a sniper that you can bring. You can also bring an HMG and a Mimetism, MSV2, HMG in a 5-man link. That is really powerful. So
yeah, it is. Why don't you tell me all about it, man who plays Varuna?
Well, you can't bring that in. There is no MSV2 and Mimetism in Varuna, which is a big distinction in terms of HMG. You can have the Kamau Sniper, but the Kamau HMG does not have MSV2.
Fair. I'm still salty.
Yeah, the Epsilon is going to be a really great solo piece with an HMG backed up with those Varangian guards to throw some smoke so that he can shoot through it without any fear of being attacked.
Yeah, it's the same way that you could do like with Corregidor, where you would have the intruder and just like keep a jaguar close to him and just throw smoke in his view and do work with the intruder. So you can do the same thing here.
Thankfully, the new changes to MSV are not going to make that as punishing, since MSV 1 can now see through smoke. Sure, at a negative, but it's a lot more prevalent than MSV 2 is, with MSV 3 being, of course, the rarest on only 2 units in the game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, only a couple. I think there's 4, including the Ashura, the Marut, the Aquila Guard, and the Karantid.
I think the Marut is only 2.
Is
the
it? Oh, yeah, it might be only MSV2. You might be right there.
I'm going to double check that really quick. And yes, it is MSV2.
Okay. So there's just 3 then, yeah. The Ashura, the Aquila, and the Karantid.
It's really rare.
Now, what are some of the things that we've not seen yet for Starmada? We've not seen, I know the Raptor boarding squad.
Yep.
What are the
Nyoka assault troops as well.
Yep.
Then
everything else kind of seen in either Code 1 or in spoilers. Shona we've seen in spoilers.
Yep.
Show we've seen in Code 1. Casanova we've seen in spoilers. We've seen all the bots. We've seen Cyber Ghosts in Code 1, which are going to be really weird and really cool. We're going to see, like, we've seen Psychops in Code 1, which are going to be really weird and really cool.
Definitely.
But
looking at the Raptors and the Nyoka, I'm wondering what those would really be, because Nyoka, so you're looking at the Nyoka assault troops, so they can form a core and they can form a Harris, and you can take 5 of them, and they seem to be in, because they're right there after the Crushers, so
maybe
like
medium
real
infantry.
Yep. Medium infantry.
Yeah. I kind of stand by my theory that I have that they're going to definitely be a forward-moving sort of medium attack-based medium infantry. So think like Wildcats. I wouldn't be surprised if they possibly got a form of forward deployment. Maybe not thing crazy, but I could see Spitfires. Well, maybe not Spitfires because we're thinking 012. So probably a Red Fury, definitely a boarding shotgun of some sort. Riot Stoppers galore, because again, we're talking about 012. I just think that they're going to be the knock knock, we're coming in type of unit.
Yeah, I could definitely see, especially with like the core and the Harris options here, I could foresee these being similar to a lot of medium infantry Harris teams that a lot of other factions have. So you have your core defensive link of Kappa units, and then you might bring a really aggressive Harris of Nyokas.
I think honestly the more interesting profile to talk about that we haven't seen yet is actually the Raptor boarding squad. Reason being is we've only seen one other boarding squad in the game, and that has been the wonderful, beautiful Toha based boarding team, the where are they?
The Rasails.
The Rasail. Now, do I think they're going to be very similar to the Rasail? Probably not, because Toha is filled with alien voodoo tech nonsense. But I really see something really cool coming out of this. Definitely high burst weaponry. Definitely a form of mimetism. If they got a nano screen, I would be super cool and happy with that.
I disagree. I think because if you look at the emblem for the Raptor boarding squad, it's very, very similar to what Cosmoflot's is. So I'm thinking it's going to be a skirmisher, because it can't form a core, it can't form a Harris, it's no special, so it's going to be some form of skirmisher, like maybe if they brought the Foxtrots from, or the Cheshires.
Well, that's the thing. The Rasail can't form a team themselves either, but what they all have is a peripheral. So could you imagine if these little dudes that perhaps have some form of forward deployment. I like forward deployment, so I'm going to be wish listing it a lot. But could you imagine them with all little side bots just going around being little jerks?
Could be sweet.
It could be amazing.
I'm actually going to disagree with you both, and I'm going to put my bets on being some form of AD unit. AVA 4 for an AD unit is pretty standard, I think. So I'm anticipating this to be the main AD group, maybe like a very basic, think like an Akali or something like that from Pano.
And I'm just now noticing that the Delta is not in Starmada.
Delta is not in Starmada, so sorry, O12 players, you gotta pile your multiple deltas somewhere else.
Just use them as crushes. It'll be fine.
Could. Yeah, definitely could work. All right. So the final thing we got to talk about is the special fire teams. These are pretty cool.
Yes. Yes.
This is honestly going to be really interesting. Shona, I think, is going to be in a lot of lists, especially with in my opinion, a bronze and a blue coat, just because I like that configuration a lot.
Mm.
And she brings a more deadly close combat presence to that Harris. Sure, the blue coat can stop it. Sure, the bronze can hold his own, but Shona is going to be your piece that's just going to be like, no, sit down, stay down, and don't get up again, or else I'm going to have to hit you with the big sword again. You don't want that now, do you?
Yeah. She's a CC monster, that's for sure.
She really is. Her model's gorgeous. I think she's going to make it in a few lists. Is she an auto include? No. But she's cool, so hey, rule of cool, right?
Absolutely.
She's after McMurra. She wants that sword back that he's got.
Look, I think at this point, Shona and McMurrow probably have some sort of agreement where they're just like, okay, yes, I get it. You're cool too. You can keep the sword. Mostly because I don't think she wants to fight him.
Yeah. Shona Carano is actually another one of these Aristea stars, so it's pretty cool to see her in the game again. She's definitely a CC monster in Aristea as well. So she's a Pano unit as well. So I'm definitely partial to her. She's great.
And so blue coats, special fire team blue coats can be a part of a fire team of Kappas.
Yep.
We saw that earlier today, and we talked about that earlier.
It honestly makes them a really good filler for the Kappas. Sure, the Kappas are generally cheaper, but if you want a nice little special weapon, you want the ADHL in there,
yeah,
maybe the Red Fury in there to take the place of the HMG. Not saying that the HMG is worse, but they're definitely very close together in what they do.
Yeah.
And if you want just something to be like, hey, I'm going to watch our backs. If anything tries to get to us, I'm going to stop it. I really like the blue coats as a piece for that.
Yeah, I think in terms of like a fire team, those are usually some of the prime targets of things like Speculos or Fides. Mm-hmm. Those impersonators really want to get rid of your link, and to be able to include someone with a biometric visor and the ability to have a +3 to discovering and
I just
be able to glue.
They're going to be discovering on what, an 8, a 19?
So +3 for the discover, +3 for the link team, possibly +3 for range, and unless we see something different, biometric visors usually give +6 to discover.
I know they basically cancel out the -6 from the impersonation stat.
So it could be potentially +9 or even more, but we'll see.
That's it's auto. Like, hello, I see you there.
Yeah. So they're definitely really great units to watch your link teams back, I think.
Very much so.
Depending on what the Psychops get, that could be really cool. They're wild cards, so you can slot them into different things. We know some of the profiles from Code 1. One of my favorites is the MSV1 plus Mimetism and a Marksman Rifle. That's a really fun one in Code 1.
I could definitely see that slotting into a Kappa unit. And it's just like, surprise, I actually have a much longer range weapon than you were expecting from this Kappa combi. If it has hollow projector like Catherine Cho does.
Yeah, could be. The Bronze, being able to join a team of Blue Coats, Nyokas, or Beta Troopers. That's pretty sweet. Beta Troopers, we didn't really touch on as much, but they are definitely one of my favorite units in Vanilla O12.
It's going to be exciting to watch them all climbing up. Spectacles everywhere.
They're fast, they climb, and now they've got a big boy that they're bringing along with them.
This isn't to say that beta troopers in and of themselves don't have some big boy armaments, but
Oh, for sure.
this is definitely a much bigger boy that is going to look around, look at these little remotes that are around them, why they skipped leg day, and then lead the charge.
Definitely.
Well, that's just really scary in general because the bluecoats already have Sixth Sense, and then the bronzes already bronze's got the 360-degree visor.
Yep.
You're not going to get snuck up even in that Harris.
Yep.
So you've got Sixth Sense, you got 360 visor, and with a beta troop as well, that's a mean Harris that's going to be really hard to get to sneak up on and get rid of.
Definitely.
I think the odd one out is whatever the Nyokas are going to end up being. I'm really intrigued by that because depending on what they end up having, that could really support a bronze into doing some outstanding things. Just the sheer fact that the bronze has the fact to join not one, not two, but 3 different core options is a little scary and a little much.
It's pretty sweet. And even if you're not wanting to get like the fire team bonuses, you just want to have a buddy along with you. This next one, this Knight of Santiago, being able to form a fire team duo with the bronze, I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait to enact all of my buddy cop stories that I want to come up with for these two. I bet they're the best of friends.
I'm going to find whatever the greatest buddy cop movie is. I cannot place it for the life of me. I know.
Bad Boys. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna say I know it has Eddie Murphy in it, so not Bad Boys. I'm going to find Malibu PI. I'm going to find that theme, and I'm going to play it every time you bring this duo.
Awesome. Yeah, then we've got the Tiango. That's another standout real quick. He's a wild card. And this is the guy that we all...
The first section.
Yeah,
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the Tiangao for Yusheng is a model that has a couple of different very interesting profiles. 2 of them have jammers, and as we know, jammers do benefit from link team bonuses, because why not? Thankfully, the jammers are going to be disposable now in N4,
Yep.
because they needed to nerf Gazimuziwa further, but I think he's not going to cause as much as a storm in 012 Starmada that he did when he came out with White Banner.
Yeah,
I
especially with the change that we all know.
Yeah. I think he's still going to be a very powerful, very interesting piece. But I can't deny that he's definitely not that, oh my god, boogeyman that he was at first.
Definitely. But this is another guy that can defend your link, because if I remember correctly, this guy has a 360 visor as well.
He does. He does indeed.
Well, see?
So here's actually a thought that I didn't even think about. The second section, so it's specifying that it has first section, means that definitely second section are going to be in Starmada. Can we go back one really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're AVA 1, so you do have to make that choice.
Yeah.
But if you say don't really want to bring the linkable jammer for whatever reason, don't ask me why, you can bring the second section
with the
hollow
traps.
Yep, and the hollow projector.
Yeah.
Level 2 with a red fury.
Yeah, I mean, that's a totally solid piece.
I think he's going to be an interesting thing to bring about.
Fearing for my life.
Don't worry.
You're going to just leave Dawn and come to where the actual technology is. We'll accept you for about 2 days, then we'll kick you out because you keep drinking so much.
God is ours. Space is ours.
Anyway, I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think that is. Let us know in the comments if there's anything about Starmada that really interests you the most. Let us know which unit you think looks the coolest.
And please, do not be afraid to tell us how wrong we all are.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for any updates.